The St. Louis Blues give multiple perfect updates as Jim Montgomery speaks on two key players returning from injury to rejoin the Blues. But not only that, we get a crazy update around the trade front as Doug Armstrong contemplates what to do with his key players heading into the remainder of the season, plus a huge update on one in particular. We have so much to break down this episode, and you're not going to want to miss it. So, Darius, let's just dive straight into it today, where we did get an update today with the Lions going into their next game. Now, seeing this, we've seen Braden Shen and Matthew Kessel on the wing, which sent a lot of fans a little worried when they seen the Robert Thomas not skating. Now, continuing on this, we've seen the quote from Jim Montgomery, the very Jim quote saying Robert Thomas will be a player tomorrow. He has a maintenance day today. Now, we do get one more update on another key player, but what is your thoughts on Robert Thomas? One, not missing the game, of course, but two, just his overall play this season.
Yeah, well, I will be a person tomorrow as well, Jim, but I do appreciate Jim's cadence, I guess, and some of the words that he used. It is pretty funny that he will be a player tomorrow instead of just, yeah, he'll be healthy and he'll be skating with us. But obviously, getting a couple big pieces back, and, you never want to see one of your best players not skating. And obviously, there's been a lot of injuries the last little while. You're missing Torpchenko. Thomas was not skating. You have Suter back in the lineup, which is a storyline as well, right? That he did miss some time. He was day to day with an injury, and he's been a good player for this Blues team. He wasn't going to ever put up a crazy amount of points, but obviously we were talking about the signing in terms of he's going to add some stability to the Blues lineup, and I feel like to a degree he has done that. But to get back to Robert Thomas and what he's done so far this year, obviously they need him in the lineup. The first line center, he's missed some time earlier this season due to injury. He's been pretty good this year. I mean, 17 points in 23 games. Pretty good two-way player as well so far this year. I mean, pretty good, as you're going to get for this Blues team so far this year, let's be honest. But, you need him back in the lineup, and he is one of your, while, not necessarily wearing the captaincy, he is a leader in this room as well. Lead by example, stuff like that. He has to carry some of the load. So to get him back in the lineup is great for this team. And, it sounds like he's going to be ready to go.
And I think that's the big thing. Listen, you don't want Robert Thomas missing more time. We've already seen it a bit this year. But the biggest thing in 23 games, still leading the team in points. 17 points, not a negative, which most of the team is when looking at the plus negative. But this is a team that needs to continue building momentum. Keeping Robert Thomas into the lineup is a big thing. And like you said, Jim Montgomery also had a quote saying Pius Suter will be a player tomorrow going into their game. So the big thing is you're getting back, well, one player in particular, and Pius Suter, but Robert Thomas just having his maintenance day. But the lines do look a little weird. Obviously, you have Shen playing up on that top line with Robert Thomas, Jake Neighbors, without Snuggerud playing as we see in the surgery. Of course, Nathan Walker is out month to month with his injury as well. But Darius, this is a team that's trying to build an identity. We know they have the talent. Yeah. This is a team that took once again the President's Trophy winners to a Game 7 and should have won that game. Let's be honest here. They're trying to build an identity. And going into the game versus Boston Thursday night is the big one. Listen, we don't care if this is a game that's super close, a blowout, whatever it is. We remember 2019. That's all that matters. But the big thing with this Blues team, I think going into this, you have a stretch here where you have some tough competition. The Boston Bruins, the Ottawa Senators, the Montreal Canadiens, all playoff teams out east. Well, now the Montreal Canadiens have dropped a bit. But what is your thoughts over the stretch? And listen, we're going to get into a trade update around one player. But what is your thoughts on this next stretch of games that I almost feel like we continue talking about?
Yeah, I mean, we kept talking about it a couple of weeks ago, and now we're going to continue to talk about it because they have picked up some serious points here, even in losses, but, losing in overtime, shootout, stuff like that. But the next couple of games and the next stretch of games is crucial. I think that they're going to make a decision at the end of this month. And usually I think it would come a little bit earlier, but because of what the league looks like this year, and in terms of the standings, I don't think they can any earlier than the end of this month. And when I say the end of the month, I think mostly after that second game against the Nashville Predators, because if you look at the schedule coming up here, like you mentioned, you have a couple playoff teams. Yes, Montreal's dropped a little bit, but that Atlantic division is absurd. They dropped a little bit, but you have some tough competition. Not only that, you play almost every single day this month. You have two back-to-backs. Three back-to-backs. One, with travel on the road, two road games. So it's going to be a tough month. It is, but you play Nashville, who's worse than you twice. You need to pick up some points there. So we'll see where they fall. They're missing Walker, like you said. Thomas is probably not even 100% even if he does play. Suter, like how close to 100% are all of these guys at this point? It's going to be a tough month and it's going to be a lot of hockey. So we'll see where they fall after this month or closer to the end of this month. I think we'll have a better idea. But this is a crucial stretch for them. This will make or break the season depending on what way they go. Or maybe they just keep hanging on. They're around the same spot. And then we're having the same conversation in 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, something like that. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens. But crucial stretch of games. And not only that, Kaskamaki getting his shot in the lineup as well, which I think is interesting on that third line.
I mean, the big thing is, and fans, what do you think the score of this game is going to be? Are we going to see a huge win from the St. Louis Blues? Let us know, but this slides straight into the second thing we do want to bring up today, where, listen, I seen some comments yesterday saying, hey, the media's blowing up, and saying that Jordan Binnington did this. We weren't saying that. We love the feistiness from Jordan Binnington. Right now, we see him between the pipes as the starting or projected starting goaltender going into the game for Boston. But this is where we got some reports, Darius. Now, he's been linked to the Edmonton Oilers, countless, all month. But we do see from Anley Strickland going in to say the Edmonton Oilers, to my knowledge, are on Jordan Binnington's no trade list. First off, I want to say I love this. I hate the Edmonton Oilers. I don't think that's a secret at this point. But the big thing is looking at Jordan Binnington and his contract, and no trade clause are modified at least. Last year was an 18 no trade list. This year it jumped up to or down to a 14. And next year it's dropped to a 10, Darius. What is your thoughts on these teams calling? Listen, the Edmonton Oilers seem to be out, but with this team, and I do want to touch on some AHL goaltenders and stuff like that, but do you think this gets to the point where Doug Armstrong looks and says, hey, we know how good these goalies can be. We're just going to ride it out. Why trade them for scraps if teams are offering that? Let's just keep the two guys.
Ultimately, they're going to ride it out. They're not going to trade Jordan Binnington, but we were covering the reports and obviously the rumors around him. But just because a player has a no trade clause doesn't mean that he can't waive it. Now, that would make no sense because he has a modified no trade list and Edmonton is on it. So clearly he doesn't want to go there. But at the same time, Connor McDavid can get on the phone and say, hey, listen, pal, I need you over here in Edmonton to do something. But that doesn't mean he's going to go. So ultimately, I don't think they're going to trade him. I don't think this is going to work out. And on top of it, I didn't even know. No one really knew, no one gets the list of teams that are on, players no trade clauses. But if Edmonton is on it, he's not going there. He would have to waive, and it's on the list. So clearly he doesn't want to go there. So I don't think it's going to happen. I don't even think it would be smart to trade him at this point. Who do you have that's going to come up that would make that much of an impact? If they still had Colton Ellis, it would be a different story. That is for sure. But even then, you have, a Hofer who's been okay, and we've seen flashes at times, and then Ellis who's unproven, and you're kind of headed not towards a rebuild, but definitely a retool, and you would have to take maybe a year or two to get back on your feet. So ultimately, I don't think it's happening. They'll probably write out Binnington's contract at this point, but I do believe that there's teams that are interested.
And I think the big thing is, like you said, in the AHL, if you had a goaltender that was standing on its head, someone that you could not score on. Yeah, sure, look at it. You look at the Minnesota Wild. Listen, we don't want to talk about them, but Walt said joining the team has completely set the tone. If you have a young goaltender, Jordan Binnington in 2019, that can change things. But right now, looking down at Springfield, your best player, and listen, I don't want to hit on this guy because I think he's great, but Georgiev Romanov is their best AHL goaltender, getting small stints with the San Jose Sharks during a rebuild, so it doesn't make sense to move on from two solidified goaltenders to take a chance on an AHL guy unless you get one back from, like, say, Buffalo, Colton Ellis. There you go. But what's your guys' thoughts on this? Go down and leave a comment down below. While you're down there, leave a like, subscribe, share this with your friends, and we'll go straight into comments today. It's in Lockdown Broberg. He's a solid defender. One of our best players. Probably the most important move the Blues make for our future, and completely agree. Go check the video we covered yesterday on that as well, because there's so much around Broberg, and they need to get him signed. But that'd be it for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed. I've been your host, Mark, with my co-host, Darius, and take care, Blues fans.